Okay, buenas tardes again. We're going to follow up today with the second part of our pronunciation lesson, and that is la acentuación. Okay? And again, you want to get your stress on the correct syllable um, so that you don't speak like a gringo. No hables como gringo. Again, these are things like saying telefono instead of teléfono. Okay? We don't want to do that. So you always want to put your accent on the right syllable, okay? Because you see what it sounds like when you don't. Okay, in order to know where to put your stress on a word, you have to know three basic rules. Hay tres reglas básicas para la acentuación en español. Here's number one. Si una palabra termina en vocal, now in our last video you learned what a vowel was. Again, A, E, I, O, or U. N, O, S, okay, vowel N or S, hay que poner el énfasis en la penúltima sílaba. Okay, there is a word for second to last. So when we see a word ending in a vowel N or S, we're going to put the accent on the last syllable. And when I say accent, I mean the stress, not a written accent. Okay, this is where the words are naturally stressed according to the rule. So that's why we pronounce the word for house casa and not casa because it ends in a vowel. So we put that stress on the second to last syllable when we say the word. Tocan, pares. Again, we see a word, the first one ends in a vowel, the next one in N, the next one in S. Any of those endings, vowel N or S, accent or stress, natural stress on the second to last syllable. Okay? Si una palabra termina en consonante, which again is a consonant, anything other than a vowel, con la excepción de NOS. Remember, N and S are part of Rule 1 with the vowels. Okay, so any other consonant at the end, we're going to put the emphasis. Hay que poner el énfasis en la última sílaba, the last syllable, the final syllable. Okay, for example, we say lugar, the word for place. We don't say lugar. How do we know that? Because it ends in a consonant other than N or S, so stress, natural stress goes on the last syllable. Libertad, dividir, and you'll see that dividir is a verb, okay? And so all your verbs are naturally stressed on the last syllable because they all end in R, A-R, E-R, or I-R. Okay, so those are your two basic rules. So you might say, well, I've seen words that have accents. Why do they have written accents on them? Okay, Rule 3 says, una palabra cuya pronunciación no sigue las reglas arriba lleva acento escrito, or a written accent. Okay, so there are words that break Rules 1 and 2. Okay, and how do you know? Well, because you've heard the word pronounced. And if you hear a word pronounced like teléfono, the stress is supposed to be on the second to last because it ends in a vowel, but it's not. Okay, so, and since we know that word is supposed to be pronounced that way, we know it's going to need a written accent because it's breaking rule 1 or 2. And if it does have a written accent, si una palabra tiene acento escrito, se pone el énfasis en esa misma sílaba. Okay, that is where you're going to stress the word. So let's take a look at the first word, syllable. Okay, it should be stressed on the la, the middle syllable, the second to last, because it ends in a vowel. It's not pronounced that way. It's pronounced sílaba, so we know it's going to have a written accent. Débil. Okay, I'm sure some of you know that that word has an accent. You've seen it, but how many of you have tried to put the accent over the I? It would never be over the I because, according to Rule 2, a word that ends in a consonant should be stressed on the last syllable. So if it has a written accent, it's not following those first two rules. It's breaking a rule. So that's how you know, too, that you're putting the accent on the right syllable. Comprará, that is the future, right? According to the rules, Rule 1 up top says that a word ends in a vowel, stress the second to last, and we're breaking that rule. Okay? Another common error I see all the time, árbol. Where do you hear the stress in árbol? Think about it. Okay? It's on the A. Well, how many of you have put a written accent on the O? It would never have an accent on the O because then it would follow the rule because it ends in a consonant. You're supposed to stress the last syllable. If you know a word has an accent, it can't follow the rules. Can't follow rules 1 or 2, or it wouldn't need a written accent. Okay, so again, árbol, the accent, the written accent is on the A. Okay, and don't forget, guys, no olvides, solo se encuentran acentos sobre las vocales. You're never going to put an accent over a consonant, okay, other than like a tilde, which is sometimes referred to as an accent, would go over the N. Okay, so now that we've gotten the rules, how do we know? ¿Cómo se sabe cuántas sílabas hay en una palabra? How many syllables? How do we break a word into syllables? And how do we know how many syllables a word has? Well, here's the deal. Hay que contar. One must count las vocales o diptongos que hay en una palabra. La palabra tiene el mismo número de sílabas que vocales o diptongos. So once you figure out how many vowels or diphthongs does this word have, okay, that's how many syllables. Now, you're probably thinking, what is she talking about diptongo? For now, I'm going to give you a word, generosamente. It doesn't have any diphthongs. A diphthong is two vowels together. Certain vowels, when there are two of them together, form a diphthong. So you can see that there are no double vowels here together. So we're going to count the vowels, E, E, O, A, E, E. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That tells me this word has 6 syllables. Okay, now let's take a look at what exactly is a diptongo. Okay, un diptongo es una combinación de dos vocales que forma una sola sílaba. Un diptongo consiste en, okay, so we've got two vowels that form a syllable together. Okay, this is how you form a diphthong. You can either have número uno, una combinación de una vocal fuerte y una vocal débil. So a combination of a strong vowel, which are A, E, and O, or weak, which are I or U. In either order they could be. If you put one of those strongs with a weak, you're going to get a diphthong. That's why this word here is pronounced farmacia. I guarantee some of you have pronounced it farmacia. It would not be farmacia unless there were an accent breaking the diphthong. That is a diphthong. So this word is if we were going to divide it, let's take a look here. We'd say farmacia. Okay, we can't break that diphthong there because it's a combination of a weak and a strong. So where's my stress? Second to last syllable. That's why this word is pronounced farmacia. Okay, you can also form a diphthong with a combination of dos vocales débiles, two weak, which are the I and the U. For example, you all know this word is, oops, let's undo that. Okay, this word, first time through here. Okay, is cuidar. Okay, hopefully you've never pronounced this word ciudad. Okay, it is cuidar. We cannot break a diphthong here, guys. It has to stay together. And when we divide the word, and the stress is going to be on the last syllable because of the R at the end. Okay, if you can't remember which ones are your strong and your weak, remember you and I are weak, like people. You and I are weak. Okay, now, little trick, okay, and this is kind of what I was referring to back here with it's not pronounced farmacia because there's no accent on the I. Let's see here, it says, si la vocal débil de un diptongo lleva acento. If the I or the U of a diphthong has an accent, then it's going to separate it into two syllables. Se separa en dos sílabas. For example, with our conditional here, hablaría. Okay, if this did not have an accent, this would be together, the I and the A, and this word would be pronounced hablaría on the second to last syllable. Accent on a weak, an I or U breaks the diphthong and gives you two separate syllables there. Okay, and aún. Okay, again, this would be one syllable because would be a diphthong, but since the accent is on the weak, it does break it into two syllables. Okay, practiquemos juntos. Let's do a few of these. Practice. ¿Cuáles palabras contienen diptongos? Which ones contain diphthongs? Let's look. Okay, you guys think about this for a second. Luego. Well, you and I are weak, so let's see. We got a U, we've got an E, which is strong. So that, to me, that, and to Spanish grammar, correct Spanish grammar, is a diphthong. So we're going to circle our diphthongs. Miércoles. Well, you might be thinking, shut if there's an accent, it breaks the diphthong. But an accent on the weak vowel breaks the diphthong. A, E, and O are strong. This is still a diphthong. Caer. A, E, and O are strong. These are too strong. Two strong vowels do not a diphthong make, okay? So if we were going to say this word, it would be caer, 2 syllables. That is not a diphthong. Imitación, again, to break a diphthong, the stress needs to be on the weak vowel. It's on a strong. So this is still a diphthong. Juguetería. You hear me breaking the diphthong. There's a weak and a strong. Accents on the weak, it's breaking it apart. Juguetería. Okay, so this is not a diphthong anymore. And leer, just like we said before, 2 strong vowels, that is not a diphthong. Okay, so ¿cuántas palabras hay? Not cuántas palabras. This is supposed to say cuántas sílabas hay en cada palabra. Okay, let's look. Luego. And we stress here. Mier, again, it stays together because the accent's not on the weak. Co, les, stress here. Caer, 2 syllables, stress here. Invitación. This all stays together, stress here. Now you might be saying, well, how do you know whether it should be invitación or invitación? I'm not so much worried about it exactly where you put the dividers, as long as you are not breaking a diphthong where you shouldn't be, and if you are need to break a diphthong, that you are doing that. In other cases, I'm not so much worried about it. For example, back here with luego, if you had put the G with the L-U-E, not a concern, okay? As long as that O is separated as its own syllable. All right? Let's take a look at this one. Juguetería. Hu, ge, te, or maybe you're going to put the R, and I'm not worried about it. But this has to be broken. This definitely has to be broken because the accent's on the weak, and that's where your stress is going to go. Leer, 2 syllables, stress on the last syllable because it ends in a consonant other than N or S. Okay, let's move on to one last little point here, los acentos diacríticos. Okay, this is just kind of a little extra. Acentos que no cambian la acentuación o la pronunciación de una palabra, sino el significado de una palabra. Now, if you look at these words, it should be obvious. Most of them are going to be 1-syllable words, okay? There's only one way to pronounce a 1-syllable word. So, what's the difference? Oh, we don't want this here. Get rid of that. What's the difference between te with an accent and te without an accent? The pronunciation is exactly the same. It's simply a meaning thing. We've got the drink tea versus te as a pronoun. Could be reflexive, direct object, indirect object. Okay? El versus el, we should know el means he, and el without an accent is the. Okay? So those are called diacritical, acentos diacríticos. They don't affect pronunciation. They simply change meaning. Okay, es todo por hoy. Hopefully you're understanding what's going on. If not, be sure to give me a heads up.